Okay, good morning, children of the Most High. This is Chukwemeka with the Igbo Hebrews. Brothers and sisters, most of you are aware of the so-called ultimatum that was given to the Igbos by the northern youths in Nigeria, and in which they told Igbos to vacate their land within 3 months. So, for those who are not aware, this is a map of Nigeria. Right here in the southeast, you have Igbo land mainly, and here is the north. Here is northern Nigeria, all this area, which is mostly desert anyway. But personally, I actually didn't want to comment on this, not because I was not worried about it, but because I decided not to be commenting on political issues, for now. Because I made it very clear, I've said this so many times, that what we Igbos need is not a political revolution, it's not a political liberation. What we need is a religious liberation. That's what we need, not political, it's a religious one. We need to align our religious obligation to the right source. The scripture said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High, and every other thing will be added unto you." If we have a religious liberation, every other thing will be added to us. That's what I believe, and I'm extremely convinced about that. However, a number of people have asked these questions about this ultimatum, and I just want to point it out here. First of all, brothers and sisters, consider the coincidence. Consider the coincidence. 50 years ago, brothers and sisters, 50 years ago, we were fighting a war to stay away from the north. We Igbos fought a war to stay on our own. We didn't just desire to stay on our own. We didn't just wish to not to even go to their place. We fought a war, a brutal 3-year war to stay on our own. Can you imagine that 50 years later, they are now fighting us to leave? 50 years ago, when we fought the Biafra war to be independent of these people, to stay on our own, to stay in our communities, they refused, that we have to stay with them. And now, after we have developed their deserts, after we have developed the entire nation, there is no state in this country that was not developed by Igbos and is still being developed by Igbos. Okay, they will tell you that the reason they gave Igbos the ultimatum is because we took a 1 day off to pay homage to our fallen heroes, heroes of the Biafra War, in which we observed you all remember the May 30th observation of the fallen heroes of Biafra. Just a 1 day. First of all, it gives you an indication of what the Igbos can do to the economy of this country, because we hold this nation economically. We develop almost every nook and cranny of this country. But today, they are saying that we have to leave, we have to go home. Okay, first of all, would they even want us to go? Of course not. What they are looking for is trouble. They are looking for a situation to agitate, to kill more of our people. That's what they are looking for. It's not that they want us to go, because right now, as we speak, record numbers of people from the north are in Igbo land. As we speak right now, brothers and sisters, record numbers. If you go to places like a Delta state, the Igbos in Deltas are suffering right now. They can't even go to their farm because the Fulani headsmen have taken over. The other time I heard in one community there in Delta state that some people were going to the farm and they were attacked by Fulani headsmen, and one of them was completely beheaded just like that. This is what is going on right now. We have record numbers of people from the north in Igbo land now. And that is the time that they conveniently want us to leave in 3 months. So when I heard this, initially I didn't want to comment on it because I understand what is going on. We know that northern Nigeria is a staging ground for a lot of destabilization efforts by external forces. And when I say external forces, I mean those who have been destabilizing the world of recent. Okay, we know that John Kerry came to Nigeria a few years ago and met only with the northern leaders. Only God knows what he discussed with them. Only God knows what they are preparing for. We know that Boko Haram, the so-called Boko Haram, the so-called terrorists in Nigeria, has absolutely nothing to do with Nigeria. The so-called leader of Boko Haram, if for those of you who understand Hausa language or who can speak Hausa language, the so-called leader of Boko Haram, if you listen to his accent and everything, it doesn't even sound like a Nigerian person. Okay, we know that these things are if you don't know that these things are foreign entities acting in Nigeria, just know that there's something wrong with you, because anybody's supposed to know that. Okay, so when this ultimatum thing came out, and it's just 50 years to the anniversary of the Biafra War, it suggests another thing, that history is repeating itself here. And this is what I keep saying, brothers and sisters. If you don't know your history, you are bound to fall victim to it once again. The Biafra War came as a result of Igbos being killed in the north. We were being slaughtered. That's why we fought a war, to stay on our own. Okay? Now, 50 years later is the same thing. Now, 50 years later, brothers and sisters, 50 years later, we have another situation whereby they want to kill Igbos. Of course, some people will not take this seriously because the Nigerian government have threatened this, have done that, have done this. But we all know how emboldened these people are in this current regime. We all know how emboldened the Fulanis are to even be killing Igbos in Igbo land. We know how emboldened they are. So with this kind of ultimatum, sure, you can be sure that some Igbos will be slaughtered. You can be sure of that. Maybe secretly, clandestinely, whatever, they will kill some of our people. You can be sure of that. So, but the first message I have to tell our people is this: you don't have to be afraid of anything. You see, controversy is not new to us. Conflict is not new to our people. 50 years ago, our people fought with our bare hands in the Biafra War. We fought with our bare hands, and we held this country to a standstill. So your ancestors are not new to controversy. So you shouldn't be afraid of anybody, whether they call themselves Northern Youth. When the chips are down, these people cannot stand you. That's a fact. But more importantly, brothers and sisters, you have to be prepared. Everybody has to be prepared, especially if you live in the north. You have to be prepared. We have a tendency to be lax about things. This is not time to be lax, because history keeps repeating itself. The same massacre that happened to our people 50 years ago is repeating itself now. So you have to be prepared. I don't know what preparation may mean to you. Preparation may mean that you and your family can discuss, can have some what you call like a muster point. In case trouble starts anytime, you and your family can have a place where you can meet. You have to be connected to other Igbos there, and you guys have to have a plan, as I know some people do have in the north. Your family members, those going to school, wherever they are, need to have some kind of communication on a cell phone or something to communicate and know when to meet if you are under attack. These are all things you can do for preparation, and I would advise our people to. I know the Nigerian government are working to make sure that these agents, these people that gave this ultimatum, that nothing happens and the Igbos are protected. But you can't rely on government for protection. We can't continue to do that. We can't rely on, because government only acts after the fact. So people will be killed before government act. You don't want to be a statistic. So you have to be prepared if you live there. I'm not going to tell Igbos to leave the north and come back home. I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because we are Nigerians. You cannot leave a house that you have built. You cannot leave. We developed this country. We built this nation. We cannot run away from the house that we built. As we say in Igbo, we will fight for our rights. We have a right to be wherever we are, because this is a country. We fought to stay away and they said no. So they can't just be pushing us up and down. We will fight to stay where we are, because this is our country. We have a right to be any part of this country. Just like they are in Igbo land, there are a lot of Northerners in Igbo land today and nobody's pursuing them. So they don't have any right to pursue us. But if you're not prepared, brothers and sisters, you will always find yourself in the path of unpreparedness. You find yourself in the path of statistics. You will find yourself being a victim. You find yourself being a victim. So I'll recommend all our brothers and sisters to get prepared, because this is another cycle. We have a 50-year cycle of violence. Even in between that 50 years, there have been series and waves of violence. There have been lots and lots. You remember the Mitre War in the 80s, in the early 80s, and so many of them, all of them happened to Igbos in this country. And again, brothers and sisters, you have to ask yourself, why does this keep happening to us? The Igbos have never attacked anybody anywhere we live. I keep saying this. Igbos have never gotten up one day and attacked people in Lagos, or attacked people in Oyo, or people in Kaduna. We've never done that. So why are we easy targets? It's not because we are Christians. We are not the only Christian in the world. Actually, we make nothing from Christianity. It's simply because we are children of Jacob. It's simply because of that. When you understand the adversity that is going to come to us as a result of who we are, it will keep coming until we realize who we are. It's simply because we are children of Jacob. That's why this thing is happening to us. And so, if we realize who we are, we can better unite and fend off any attack that is coming to us. So, brothers and sisters, those of you who live in the north, those of you who live any part in Nigeria, fear not. This is not the first time we are seeing this adversity. We've seen it before. We exactly saw it 50 years ago when we fought 3-year brutal war to stay away from these people. And now they're saying that we have to leave. We've seen it again. We have to be prepared. Each and every one of us on an individual level and on a family level has to be prepared so that you don't fall victim to these blood suckers who are just looking for blood. May the Most High bless you. So now.